Hi everyone, good morning and welcome back to another CMDBuild webinar. My name is Grazian and I'm the project leader of the CMDBuild Ready2Use application. And it is once again my pleasure to walk you through another CMDBuild webinar. Today we will be talking about the newest version of CMDBuild Ready2Use that was released at the end of last year, which of course is version 2.3. Before we started with the presentation, I want to quickly remind you that if during the webinar you have any kind of doubts or question or maybe fun facts that you want to share with us, please feel free to use the chat box. And at the end, during the Q&A, we'll discuss everything. So we can start by taking a look of all the new features that have been added to the CMDBuild Ready2Use version 2.3. And then later on, we will, of course, go more into depth with every one of them. So first of all, we have additions and improvements to the service desk and service management module. Then we have improvements to the custom components of the application. And then some changes to the data reconciliation module. And lastly, some other minor improvements that we have added. First, we can discuss about the service desk and service management module. And here, first of all, we have extended the SLA configurations to the request fulfillment process by following a similar logic as previously present for the incident management ticket. So right now it is possible to configure SLA rules for take charge and resolution for the request fulfillment process based on area or service selected by the user at the opening. And now you're also able to keep track of the performance of the request fulfillment tickets. Of course, if a ticket is out of SLA and so they are exceeding the maximum time allowed for that specific process, notifications will be sent to the operators to inform them that they are being late. So this is very important to keep track of the performance of the processes. Then, by taking advantage of the new functionalities provided with the core application, we have also added in-app push notifications, in addition to, of course, the email notification that are still present. This change has been added to all the IT processes inside the Ready2Use application. And this allows for a faster and quicker way of sending the information to the operators. Then we have defined layouts for all the closed processes. Previously, the closed processes were showing all the attributes of the ticket, which at times it was a bit confusing for users and operators alike, because also because of the fact that there were multiple system attributes as well present in the form. So those kind of informations were not really interesting. So we have created for all the closed processes also specific layouts so that only the important information is shown. We can now move on to the custom components. And here, concerning this module, we have implemented a new custom page for the global search. What this custom page allows the users to do is to look for values across all the classes inside the Ready2Use application. This, of course, is useful if you know a value of a specific record, but you don't really know into which class this record is present. So you can use this new functionality to look for that specific record. And if the value is found inside one of the records across all the classes, the record is going to be shown here. And you can either view all its attributes directly from the custom page, and if you want to take a look at all the other data, such as relations, history, and stuff like that, you can, of course, use the link button to move to the specific class where you will find all its information. Then another functionality that was actually already present in previous version of Ready2Use, but has been refactored and greatly improved, is the possibility to generate QR codes. And now it can be done in two different ways. The first one is with a widget that is present directly inside all the records of the subclasses of configuration items. So basically all the assets and stuff like that. And another way to do this is by using a context menu, which is present, of course, also on all the subclasses of configuration item. And the context menu also allows to create and generate multiple QR codes at the same time. Another functionality that has been added is the possibility to choose what kind of information you want to put inside the QR code. So by default, code and description are inserted into the QR code, but the user can simply select from a list the attributes that they want to put inside the QR code. And also, if they want to, they can put in the link to the card itself. Now, moving on to the data reconciliation module. Here we have taken advantage of the service bus framework that was added and embedded inside CMDBuild since version 3.4. And the main advantage of the service bus is an improved performance and throughput, and also a simple architecture and configuration, and also the ability to take advantage of CMDBuild APIs and data structure that is directly present inside CMDBuild. This, of course, is useful because now with the new service bus, all the operations are done directly inside CMDBuild. So it is also easier to create these new kind of services that are integrated with external applications, and also the import itself is faster. Inside CMDBuild, we have rewritten a couple of the standard connectors, which are the connector with Active Directory for personal synchronization. Then we have the VMware vCenter for virtual server synchronization. And then the connector with OCS inventory for desktops and notebooks. Of course, the connectors are though only available for customers who have an active annual subscription, so they are not publicly released with the database that can be found on SourceForge. Then we have some other small improvements, which include a new report that is called the list of attachments. And this new report shows a list of all the attachments that are uploaded inside every class inside the CMDBuild application. And they are divided, of course, by class. And there's also a possibility to add an input parameter. So if maybe you are interested to know what attachments have been uploaded to the building class, for example, or I don't know, the contracts one, you can do that. Or if you don't want to filter the data, you will see all the attachments present in all the classes inside CMDBuild. Then we have added some improvement to the maps view. This was also done by taking advantage of some of the functionalities that were added in the latest core version of the application, such as info windows in the maps. Before, in the maps for positions that were of type point, CMDBuild only allowed to show an icon, but now it is possible to configure info windows, which we'll see later live in the demo. And there you can also show some information from the record itself, and if present, also an image. Also, we have taken care of creating some new fields, new attributes that were introduced in version 3.4 and forward of CMDBuild, such as links, files, and formula attributes. And then, of course, as always, we have tried to squash some bugs, so we have added some bug fixes. And now we can take a look at the live demo and directly see some of these new features. So I am here inside the CMDBuild application. And for example, I was talking about before push notifications. And if, for example, I am to start a new incident management process, I'm going to pick my requester, then specify an area, which is hardware. And for example, right now I'm simulating the opening of a new ticket. And once I press execute, as you can see here, a new notification comes up. Of course, right now I am a super user, and the notification is meant to be sent to the help desk or the operators that actually then need to classify the ticket. But for example, if I were to do something else in the application and then take a look at my notifications, I would be able to see that, okay, a new ticket has been opened. And for more information, I can click directly here, and the system automatically sends me to the ticket mentioned. And here I can then change it and classify it and then move forward if I want to. And we have also talked about SLA configurations for the request fulfillment process. So the SLA configuration is still present inside the SLA class, of course, but now it is also possible to add configurations for the request fulfillment process. So for example, here we can see that for the request fulfillment, we have two configurations available, two rules. So for example, take in charge in 2 hours and then resolution in 4. And this has been configured for the business service, which is accounts. So for example, if now I am to open a new request ticket with that service, so the request type is going to be a service, and the service, of course, accounts. So reset password. I can also see the pop-up once again. And if I close the ticket, I can see that here the take in charge is for tomorrow morning at 12 past 9, and the resolution is at 11 past 12. You might be wondering why it is at 9 past 12. Well, this is because, of course, there is a calendar that is defined inside the ready-to-use application. So the system calculates the time based on the calendar, which right now by default it ends at 6 p.m. So now it's almost a quarter past 4 p.m. So 2 hours will be a quarter past 9 tomorrow morning, of course, starting at 9 o'clock in the morning. And we have also discussed about layouts for closed processes. So for example, let me just close this one. And now if I move to the closed processes section, I can see here that I have a layout that is defined. So the attributes are not spread out across the form, but they are thought out. Of course, the layout can be changed as you wish directly from the administration module. So this is very easy and straightforward to do. This is the default one that we have configured. And of course, if you still want to view all the information, you can either change the layout, of course, or inside the history tab here, you are able to view still all the values that are present inside our record. So then we have discussed about custom components. So here is the global search custom page. So for example, here, if I put in Tecnoteca, what the system does is it tries to find the value that I have put in the field Tecnoteca inside all the records inside the application. So for example, here I have a building here that has a name Tecnoteca. As I said before, you can either quickly view its information directly from here, but as you can see here, I don't have the full data. So I don't have the history, I don't have the relations and stuff like that. So this is just a quick glance of all the values. But if I want to take a look at all the data, I can use the Open Related Card button here. and the system quickly moves me directly inside the building class in this case. And here I can also view its relations and other information, as you can already do in every CMDBuild class. The other custom component improvement was the one concerning the QR code generation. So for example, if I go to the desktop class, here I can see that I have the generate QR code widget at the right. So if I press it, a QR code is automatically generated. And if you see, if I hover up, above the QR code, it has the value of code and description. Of course, I can change this by using the configuration, the settings button here. As you can see, by default, code and description are selected. But if I want, I can change that, maybe add the assignee and serial number. And then if I save, the QR code gets regenerated. Now, as you can see, I have multiple values. And I can also use the include URL to the card flag. And if I save, there's a new value again in my QR code. So this is the first way to generate QR codes, while the second one would be to use the context menu here and generate QR code. Of course, if you want to use the QR code, you need to select at least one record from the grid below, otherwise it won't work. And the configurations are basically the same as you've seen before. And there is a new flag present in the context menu because, as I said before, you are allowed to create multiple ones. So let me just show you. If I enable the multi-selection and select more than one record and then use the context menu, here the system generates more than one QR code because I have selected 3 records, of course, from my grid. And inside the settings button, I can of course change the values as before, and I have a new flag that is single QR code per page in print mode. What this means is that when I'm going to print the export that the system generates, it will put only one QR code per page. So that's the meaning of this new flag. Okay. Then we have talked about the attachments list. So in this case, if I don't select any input parameter, I can just print the report and I will see all the attachments that are added to the application. In this case, I have added a few earlier for demo purposes. So we can see that we have the building class and the purchase order class that have some attachments, and the attachments are on 2 buildings. In this case, here I have just an image, while here I have 2 images, and for the purchase order I have a document. And if I want to take a look at the attachments for specific classes, I can use the input parameter. So for example, I will select building, and then here I will only view the attachments that are loaded inside the building class. And here I have the Milan and Tecnoteca headquarters. Okay. Then we have the changes and improvements to the info window inside the map. So for example, here I am in the building class, and if I open my map, I have the points of the buildings, and if I click on one of them, for example this one, it shows me also the name of the building and in this case the address, because it's configured this way. But if I click on the Tecnoteca headquarters here, I not only view the name of the building and its address, but I also view a picture of the building. And of course, each building, if it has a picture uploaded, it will be shown here. We have also talked about some new attributes that are available in version 3.4. So for example, here we have the photo, which is a file attribute. So in this case, you can see here that you can upload directly attachments in the form. Previously, it was only possible to add attachments inside the attachment tabs, but now with file attributes, it is also possible to do it inside the form. And here also we have two formula attributes, which is the floors number and the rooms number. What formula attributes are, they are basically not real attributes per se that are present inside the database, but they are attributes to which their values get calculated when the form is open. So each time the form, in this case of this building, is opened, the system calculates how many floors and how many rooms this building has. So if in the meantime these values change, I always get the updated value without having to create triggers on the database or any kind of automatism to keep the value updated, because it is always up to date when I open my form. Another kind of attributes is, for example, the link one. And we can see it here, for example. So we have the URL and the label. So for example, the URL might be Google, while the label might be something like this. So when I save the information here, I will only see the label and not the actual URL. Okay. So I think I have covered pretty much everything. And let me check if there are some questions. And we will, of course, be back shortly with the answers. And here you can view, of course, in the meantime, all the contacts where you can reach us. We have our official websites and also Twitter, forum, and the email. Okay, so I can see that there are a couple of questions. The first one is from Alex, who is asking, is the text of the notification easily editable? And if yes, where it is possible to change it? Well, the answer is yes. All the notifications, the push notifications, are editable inside the administration module. And this can be done easily as it is done for the emails. There is a specific section now, and there you can change the text that gets shown inside the notifications. Then Sarah asks, can the QR code be used to find an asset using the mobile app? Yes, this can be done. The way to do this is by putting inside the QR code a value of something that you know to be unique. So for example, I don't know, the code of the asset. And then you can use the mobile application to scan the QR code that is present, I don't know, maybe on a monitor or a desktop, and then use that as a filter mechanism inside the mobile application to find the record you are interested in. Then Matt asks, is there a limit to the attributes that can be added to the QR code? In theory, no, but of course there is a limit of the amount of data that the QR code can contain, which is of about 3 kilobytes, if I'm not mistaken. So that is the only limit to the information, so the number of the attributes that can be added. Of course, if I have a text attribute inside my asset, which has lots of data, probably this could be a possible limit. Then Chloe asks, can the notifications be disabled? Yes, this can be done. We have thought of a parameter that can be configured inside the application. So if the parameter is set to true, then the notifications will be sent out. Otherwise, no notifications will be generated. Then Vincenzo asks, are notifications part of CMDBuild 2? Well, yes. I mean, notifications are a new mechanism that has been introduced inside the CMDBuild core application, and they can be configured in different ways. Inside Ready to Use, we have configured the notifications for the IT processes, but of course the notifications can be configured in many other ways depending on the specific needs. Anyway, yes, you do not need to have specifically the Ready to Use application in order to create notifications. Every CMDBuild application can have their own push notifications. Then Paul asks, is the global search page takes into account the user's permissions? Yes, of course it does. So when the custom page loops through all the classes in order to find the value, it of course it can only view the classes to which you have grants on. So if you don't have permissions to view certain classes, the system will not even look into those classes. I don't see any other questions, so maybe let's just wait a couple of more seconds. Okay, I don't think there are other questions. So thank you guys, and thank you to everyone who has followed today's webinar. It was my pleasure talking to you, and I hope you enjoyed it, and let's catch up another time in the future. Bye, everyone.